Well, hello there, and welcome back. This is episode 27 of my Minecraft 1.15 Let's Play. I'm here at my end portal, and I have no idea what's going on here. That's just a pigment in a hole, apparently. But I'm about to do a trick that I saw in a video from Raiseworks that apparently you can break these ender portal blocks right here by bone mealing a mushroom. And what I need to do first is place a block up in the sky to make it grow to a certain height, and it might take a bunch of different tries. Let me make sure. I think I have my particles off right now. And it looks like that actually just worked right then. So that's fantastic. So I need this because no, it did work. Okay, fantastic. I thought the actual portal blocks had gone away, but I need to dupe dragon eggs in order to set up the world eater I need in the Nether. And one of the easiest ways to do that is by pushing them through this end portal, and you have to actually have the end portal blocks out of the way in order to do that. And in 1.15 it's apparently really easy to do that because of this glitch here with the mushrooms. So that's pretty cool. So now that I got that set up, let me go into the end, go grab my dragon egg, and then I'll set up the duper here. Alright, so I set up this machine right here, and this is a design by Raiseworks. Basically, the two things are meant to go together, the breaking of the portal blocks and the setting up this machine. He's also got some sand dupers and stuff like that. I'm not really interested in any of that, but, you know, there's only one way to get more than one dragon egg, and that's by duping it. And it's necessary, unfortunately, for the world eater, so we have to dupe it. So that's the only way to do this. So initially I set this up and it did not work, and that's because both sides of the portal here have to be loaded. So somebody has to be in the end as well, or you have to have some sort of chunk loader. Now if you're playing on a multiplayer server, it's much easier to just have one player on one side and one player on the other, but I didn't want to use my other account for that, so instead I just set up a chunk loader here, basically the same thing as I set up for the last episode. This is a design by Nembomb, and so this keeps this chunk right here loaded so that if I start this machine, it's actually not going to do anything initially because nobody's on the end side, but if I go over to the end side, this overworld side will remain loaded, and the machine will keep operating, and then hopefully I should have a bunch of dragon eggs appearing on that side. And so, oh yeah, there they are. They are just, oh, that's pretty cool. It's just spitting dragon eggs out. And so if we go over there and grab them, it's spitting out a lot more than it looks like. Wow, it's already got 2 stacks here? That's crazy. Yeah, we're just picking up a ton of them. I only need like 50 or so. So this is going to do more than enough. I guess I'll just collect a decent amount here and then move on. Now that I've got multiples of the dragon egg, I can actually just stop this for a second. And I can do this so that it will dupe 3 of them at a time, because I'm probably not going to leave this machine around. I'm probably going to tear this down when I'm done. So I might as well just grab a whole bunch of them because I don't want to leave this around. I'll probably clean up this whole portal. I might even break all the other portal blocks, and at some point in the near future set up some nice looking portal and get rid of all the rest of this stuff. So I might as well dupe up 3 at a time and then just fill up a shulker box full of dragon eggs, and then I should be good probably forever. This is pretty funny, really. There's just a rain shower of dragon eggs, and each of these is actually 3 dragon eggs. So when it lands here, it splits up into the 3. And there's just like a whole bunch of them down here. This is not going to take long at all. So it seems I've created a little bit of a problem here. I don't know exactly how it's happened. I think probably leaving this open, and maybe the end doesn't need to be loaded. And I created too many of these items here. But yeah, so every time I go into the end, my world just freezes and then my server crashes. So that's not good. Possibly what I could do is, I don't actually know what I can do here. So I've been looking around for a little bit, and my guess is that I left this on for too long. And apparently I probably did not need the chunk loader at all. I think I just, when I tried it out the first time, especially based on the number of items I saw there the first time I was there was over a couple of stacks. Chances are it worked fine. I just didn't know where to find them. And then when I had the chunk loader on the other side, I could actually see them flying. And then I knew where they were. I probably didn't actually need the chunk loader. And then I left the chunk loader on and then left the area for a while. And I probably sent several thousand, tens of thousands, possibly even hundreds of thousands of dragon eggs into the end. And they're probably all there. And I looked at the error for my crash report on my server, and what it turns out is it's got a tick time set to 60 seconds. So if a tick takes longer than 60 seconds, so that's not great, then it will just crash the server because it's just got a watchdog procedure to make sure that, it doesn't just keep trying. So probably what I need to do is set that tick time to something really high and then run it overnight with me in the end. And hopefully it will get enough ticks to register 5 minutes so that those items despawned. I tried issuing a command to kill all items in the end, and that doesn't seem to work. They're probably just not loaded. And if I load them, I don't know. That's my first try. If that doesn't work, then I might have to go into a world editor and try to edit out all those entities that are sitting there. I'm not sure, but let's see. Let's try the first thing first. Like I said, I'm just going to go overnight with a high server tick time and see if I can get enough ticks for those items to despawn in the end. So keeping my world loaded didn't end up working because my client kept timing out, so I couldn't actually keep the world loaded. And there is no MC edit for Minecraft 1.15. There actually hasn't been one for quite a few versions. So my next step was to go into this old program called NBT Explorer. And I've used this quite a bit in the past. It's actually a really useful program. I used it when I was running a server. Like every once in a while somebody would get an item in their inventory and they couldn't load the game because it was like a bad item. And you can go into like player data and like edit items out of their inventory and stuff like that. It's also when we used to make the old Iron Titans, you could actually go in and see and make sure you had all the villages and stuff like that. I think that's actually when I started using it. But, I don't use it too often, but it is useful from time to time. So here we've got Dimension 1. If I open the data, you can actually see Raid's End. If we go into Dimension -1, you got Raid's Nether. So this dimension right here is the end. We want to open up this region. And you see there's a whole lot of them. This is the end. And I have loaded a lot of chunks because of shulker box hunting and whatnot. So what we're looking for is region 00 because we're actually really close to the end portal. And the regions are actually pretty big. So if we go to region 00, and what we're looking at in here is that the end platform, that little obsidian platform, is always at X100, Y50, Z0. So that is technically chunk 6,0. And I was actually looking below that because I thought maybe the problem chunk was where the items were shooting. And so that's actually chunk 70. And if we open that up, we can actually see the entities here. So if you go in here, you see entities, 11 dragon eggs. And then the next section, entities, 16 dragon eggs. But this is only 10 stacks of entities. This is not the problem chunk right here. The problem chunk actually is where the end platform is, right here. And if I try to open that chunk, what you can actually see is that nothing happens. There's just too much data for it to load. And or it's corrupted. I'm not sure which. So I'll never know how many items are stacked there, but needless to say, that is definitely the problem that I caused. So I have already tested this with a backup. Be very, very careful if you're ever NBT editing because bad things can happen. So I've tested this with a backup, and then I made another backup just in case this goes wrong. But what I can do is I can safely just delete this chunk by pressing the delete button, and then the world will regenerate that chunk. And hopefully that should solve my problem. So be very, very careful if you're using item dupers to not just leave them running and walk away and go do other things for a while, because it's actually a really big pain in the butt to fix all this. And then you have to make sure to click save, and that will save your world. So hopefully, again, I already tested it, so that should do the trick. Alright, so I can finally make it in the end without crashing the game. I actually teleported here for effect because if I had come here naturally, it would have respawned this platform here. So you can see that it respawned the chunk. The chunk is fine, but it didn't respawn the platform. That'll actually happen normally when I go through a regular end portal. And so that was the problem chunk right there, obviously, because we still got all these dragon eggs over here. So this is in chunk 7-0. So these are all the dragon eggs we saw in the entity list. So yeah, so everything's working now. And like I said, the next time I come through, that platform will regenerate itself. Now that I've got that mess out of the way, the next thing I need to do is to pick another fortress and then prepare the area. So this right here is where I tried setting up a mob switch with that blaze spawner right there a few episodes ago, and it didn't end up working. And this nether fortress is about 1,000 blocks away from my nether hub down there. So if I use this one, I don't have to worry about blowing up any part of my nether hub. I'm a good distance away from any of that. So what I'm looking for here is I'm looking for intersections, open air intersections. So this right here should be one. These are one of the best spawning spots for wither skeletons. They have the most spawning spaces within a single area. So yeah, this one, it should be one right here as well. And it looks like most of this is buried in netherrack. So this actually might end up being one of my best ones. So what we're looking at is I'm looking to grab the coordinates for all of these. We want the middle coordinate. There we go. And mark this other one over here. And then to get the bounding box as well, because once I blow all this up, I won't have any of that information anymore because all of this will be gone. So I need to make sure I save those coordinates. And then once I've picked which one I want to do, the next step is to actually like go at least 128 blocks in every direction and just start like drilling out a line. And that's where the bounding box of the area I'm going to blow up is going to be. I ended up deciding on this intersection right here, and the reason I decided on it is because there's another intersection right there and another one right there. They're actually directly next to each other. I don't think I'll use them, but just in case I need to for some reason, they're just right there. So this one is in the middle of three intersections that are right in a row. So I picked this one right here. And then as far as size goes, the flying machines for the TNT dupers are 6 blocks wide. So the whole area that I'm going to blow up needs to be a multiple of 6. And 256, or rather 257, this block plus 127 and 127, 128 and 128, is neither of those are divisible by 6. I could just do 258, but I want a little bit of a clearance. So what I ended up deciding on was 288. And the reason I went with that is because that's divisible by 6, but it's also divisible by 16. So it means that I can set everything up on chunk borders. Now there's no real reason that this needs to be set up on chunk borders. It's just kind of a nice benefit that it makes it easy to tell when to stop digging and everything like that if everything's aligned to chunk borders. So what I did is I came over here. So this is the intersection. So this is going to be the dead middle right here. So this is the intersection of 4 chunks right here. So in 9 chunks in every direction, that's what the whole size of my area is going to be. So let's go over in this way where I've already set up one of the sides. It took me about 6 to 8 hours to do this. This runs all the way down to the bedrock floor, all the way up to the bedrock ceiling, and it's 288 blocks total from that corner all the way over to that corner. So this is one of the 4 sides, and I completed it totally, and I did a little bit of some of the other sides, but I don't know if this was actually strictly necessary. So I still need to run out another 20 or so blocks to leave a clearance for the machine, and then there's the sides, and then the other side has a part of the machine that needs, 15 or so blocks, and there's just no way. First of all, there was no way I was ever going to do that with a pickaxe. That's going to happen with TNT. And there's no way that I'm going to get a clean cut line like this. So I'm not sure I really needed to bother with setting up the line ahead of time. Especially since I did this on the chunk borders. Like, it's going to be easy enough to tell where my borders are just by using the chunk borders. So I think I'm just going to, it's cool that I did this one line, but I think for the rest of it, for both of the sides and both of the ends, I'm just going to try and use TNT for the whole thing, and hopefully that ends up working for me. Alright, so here I am at the top of the nether, and I'm at one of the corners of the area that I need to clear out. And I've got my boom box here, and by that I mean a shulker box full of TNT. And I don't think this is going to be nearly enough, but it's a pretty good start. So I need to clear out the top 25 or so blocks. I need to go down to y equals 97. And then on two of the ends, I need to clear out 15 blocks. So yeah, it's going to take quite a bit. I'm going to do a little bit of experimenting to see how frequently I need to place the TNT to get some good explosions and stuff like that. But this should be kind of fun. I think this is the best way to go about clearing out these ends. So I've set up dispensers going all the way down. I haven't run the redstone all the way down because I don't have the view distance for them to all to fire at once, and I also don't have enough TNT, but I think this is a pretty good start. So if we press the button, we get some nice explosions here. Yeah, I think this will work pretty well. So I got to go and clear out all the lava, and the quartz doesn't have has too much blast resistance. But otherwise, it looks like I might have missed TNT in some of the dispensers down there. But yeah, I think this should work pretty well. So I got everything cleared out here all the way up to bedrock. It's 288 blocks by 15 blocks. Quite an impressive site, but obviously I still need to go down to bedrock, and to do that I'm going to need to clear out a whole bunch of lava here. So to that end, I have created this flying machine over here. This is the same basic design that I used to fill in my ocean monument. This is a design by Ilmango, and I've modified the shape quite a bit because his is much longer, because an ocean monument is quite a bit wider than this, 15 blocks. Well, 17 because I need the two sides as well. And then it also, this one needs to go down 18 chunks. So I've had to turn up my render distance to 20 so that the flying machine doesn't go out of my render area and just stop. So this did not take me that long to set up. It took me maybe an hour, and I think it's going to save me a lot of time because I've tried doing the filling in the sand into the lava manually. It's a very tedious process. So this I can AFK. So all I got to do is come down here, I can turn it on, and then it will feed me sand into my inventory, and I just hold down the button and place sand, and when it reaches down to the end over there, it's going to push the sand over with pistons, and then when it reaches down to there, those slime blocks are going to pull it all the way across the 18 blocks. I do have a small concern that the flying machine won't come back in time to deliver the next rows, but all I can do is test it and find out. Maybe I'll have to slow down the machine, but even if I have to slow it down, if I can AFK it, it's still going to save me a lot of time. So hopefully everything works well. Yeah, I can already tell that this isn't going to work. The flying machine takes way too long to come back, and the rows take less time because I'm only filling in 17 blocks of sand. I don't think I can slow this thing down enough, and if I did, it would basically be useless. It would be so slow. So I don't know exactly what the solution to this is. So the sand filling machine didn't end up working, but I think this thing right here will. This is just a really simple flying machine. It's really easy to build and put together. So if I got to get rid of that block, and then I believe if I just power that, no, this one, there we go. Yeah, so that'll just get rid of the first layer, and it will stop whenever it reaches the end, whatever block it falls into. But it's so easy to build that I can just build it layer after layer. I might even be able to push it down and send it the other way when it gets down to the end. We'll see how that ends up working out. It's going to miss some spots, and I'm going to have to fill in the border wall and everything like that, but I don't think that's really going to be much of a problem. That's going to be a lot easier than anything else I've come up with so far. That seems to have worked pretty well. So here's the crash ones from the last run that I did. And you can see any areas that it left behind were actually pretty shallow. So I had no trouble filling those in. This one was a bit of an awkward coast over here, but everything was pretty shallow here. Mostly the filling in I had to do was the wall over here, which largely would have had to been done anyways. So I've just got, most of this is land over here, and then I've got one other section over here where there's lava. I guess there's a little landmass in the middle. But other than that, that shouldn't take me too long to fill in. Alright, I finished everything up here, and there is no longer any lava anywhere in this section of the Nether here. So that part's all done. The next step would be to remove all these blocks, which to that end, I think I'm going to place TNT down the middle here, and then the sides next to this lava wall, I'm going to have to pickaxe those out because I don't want to like break open the lava wall and let lava in. So hopefully that doesn't take too long, but I think I'm going to save that and do that between episodes. I have run out of time in this episode. I don't feel like I accomplished that much because it's been a really grindy week. I've been working really hard on this, but I do think I got a good flow, and I think it'll help quite a bit for the next episode. Hopefully I can get the next part of this done a lot quicker as a result of all the guessing and checking and trial and error that I did in this episode. So I will see you then. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you very much for watching, and have a good one.